Hi, we want to give a really quick talk about the family and how to start and maintain and focus on family honesty for the atheist. If you're really uncomfortable about God and all the spirit stuff, this is respectfully extended to you from a person who's been learning stuff in the Christianity zone for a long time, but I'm telling you, there's some clear indications that say that human beings have consciences, and even the highest spirit respects somebody performing by conscience better than people who have God information but are really not doing a good job. So, Family Honesty Project. First, a few sounds. Sunrise by St. Pepe, early in the beautiful day, I can see the sailboats anchored and docked. You never know what might be swimming by that clump of rocks. Take a walk by the water, take the kids out in the little boat. Find some time to be in a place where there's nature and you can float. Well, come on, sing for the sunrise. Bless the world today. Bless all those in authority and those who can't find their way. Good morning. It's breakfast. Could you put breakfast there?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually in the midst of recording something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
That was the breakfast delivery.
You look like you're doing better today.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Feeling
Thanks.
better?
Yes.
Awesome.
All the best. So the breakfast just got delivered, and I'll be really quick about the Family Honesty Project. When I was in high school, I ran cross country, and that's good. That's really good. When you wake up in the morning and go to school early and eat a bowl of cereal or fruit and stuff in the locker room after you've run, you actually get out of your house. You don't eat food because you don't want to have a bunch of stuff in your stomach. Get to the locker room and you do a workout, or you go out and work out with your friends, and then after school you run again. You do like 3-4 miles before school, you do 5-6 miles after school. You start learning how to fly down the highway. And the more you practice, the more things get smooth. You know how to handle things. You become confident. And if you've got a really good coach who is full of good cheer and pedals his bike next to you and says marvelous things like, this whole team is only as good as the slowest guy, and you guys need to be buddies with the slower guys. You need to hang out, you need to team up, you actually need to be, an interactive, strong, family and group of people. And I have the same attitude towards family honesty. A couple of my best coaches were my vocal coach, Helen Russ, and my cross-country coach, Al Tanner. And both of them were full of good cheer, and they had an edge, and they knew what they wanted. They had a goal, they had a vision, and they actually shared that vision with the people. So my vision is the most important part of is that a second breakfast?
You have two?
Well, there's one sitting right there. That's interesting. Maybe I need to eat a lot.
You're getting two.
Okay.
I guarantee you that.
All right, happy Wednesday.
Okay, baby.
So, this is very interesting recording. Okay, so the Family Honesty Project, Radical Honesty Project, etc., comes with the reality of, after 22 years of touring what I cheerfully call the church mess in America, actually I guess that's a little bit better facial thing, I got all those stripes, as 22 years of touring the church mess in America, I have actually Somebody close that door. Yeah. This is cool. I've come to the conclusion that in all the denominations and all the movements and all the atmospheres that I've been in, the most biggest problem is honesty. The most biggest problem is honesty about like issues that people don't want to look at, and regular family honesty. And I like to say it is easier to teach someone how to raise the dead in the name of Jesus than it is to teach them how to regularly tell on themselves. And so that's my challenge. I mean, I like to take the downside. I like to make sure to do the thing that actually keeps the business running. I mean, the maintenance stuff is actually harder than the beautiful startup, because the startup comes right from God. God does the miracles. God did the work. God sent Yeshua. You know, God gave life itself. I mean, if you're an atheist, at least you're breathing and you've got something to smile about. So, Family Honesty Project, 3 parts. It's a workshop with 3 parts, 1, 2, 3. And the first part is the Family Storytelling Workshop, which is really fun. And the second part is the Sozo List. Write this down. The word sozo, S-O-Z-O, means wholeness, or rescued, or brought to safety. Sozo. The first thing is the Family Storytelling Workshop. The second part is the Sozo List. And the third part is the Sermon on the Mount made into one-liners. Okay? And I'm going to put this stuff in the description right here, and I want you to read through them. The Family Honesty Workshop is the fun part. It's the first part. It's the icebreaker. What you do is you get people together that are willing to be regularly honest with one another. And you basically say, look, the goal is going to be to have 2 20-minute family honesty times per week. And when we get together, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, hey, whatever happened to you, whatever problems you have, whatever difficulties you had, we are going to carry each other together. Even if you did something that might get you locked up, we will help you. You don't wake up in the morning and decide, I'm going to be an anger freak, or I'm going to be like, crazy, or I'm going to be a drug addict, or I'm going to be a game addict, So we are, first of all, sitting down saying, we're going to help each other. That's the number 1 statement. The second statement is, I disappointed myself when I da-da-da-da-da. So when we get together for our 2 little family, 20-minute long family honesty times, men and women, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, everybody all together, in a closed setting with, maybe a couple of families and a handful of individuals. Not just a family. Because I'm telling you, if you operate with people that are outside of your physical family, you will actually do better. You will interact, you will learn better, you will get better insight. Because there are even spirit beings that sit over your family that will actually run away when a different person comes in because they have a better perspective or something like that. So, Family Honesty Workshop and the Sozo List and the Sermon on the Mount in one-liners is all pointing towards helping our minds be honest about the general stuff that human beings screw up on. I mean, that's the whole project on it, is to get loose and get used to the fact that we do dumb things. And even on the inside, if the conscience is saying, hey, go to work really early, take care of that mess in the kitchen, work on this and work on that, and then start doing your job. Because if you do that, the whole attitude with a certain person is going to change. Like, if there's times when Holy Spirit or God Spirit or conscience tells you that you need to do something, and sometimes you chicken out. Sometimes you actually choose not to do the thing that you feel like you ought to do. And those are the things, those are kind of the deepest things that we're going to get in the practice of laying down. I mean, there's regular stuff like stealing and, getting involved in fantasies and, just, bitterness, talking bad, using a bad tone with people. But we're actually going to be looking at the stuff that, that we're going to throw on the table and say, I disappointed myself when I screamed at my sister on the telephone and was really mean to her. And I'm sad about that. And we just throw it down, and other people have heard it, and there's no crosstalk, and there's no condemnation, and there's no correction, but people just hear what one another are going through, and then later on, you can say, hey, can I help with that? Or, in the supernatural spirit realm power peoples, our silent inner prayers for one another are actually part of the protection that happens. And then we can actually go and assist a person in an area where they're weak or they keep having a problem. So the family storytelling workshop is just a list of questions going around a circle. And each person tells a little story. The first question is, where is a place that you really love that you would take us all to? A place that you've been to that's like a fun place. It doesn't have to be like super special. It could be like a little place by the lake, or like your favorite water park, or like something like that. But tell us about a place that you would take us all to that you like. And each person is going to go around the room and describe a place that they would like to take us all to. And, we're going to kind of keep it to about 2 paragraphs, like a little description. And sometimes they go a little longer. Sometimes you get a little chit-chat going on. But number 1 is a favorite place. Number 2 is, and sometimes I mix these up. Number 2 is a scary time in your life. Hello?
Hey, is it okay if I listen to you really quick?
I'm making a recording. Can you come back in 5 minutes?
Well, I'll come back when I give you a medicine. I'll do.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Sorry.
And this is not easy to do. So, little questions. A favorite place, a scariest time in your life, a special person that did something, that's really great or did something special for you, an embarrassing time in your life. Now, when you get to the embarrassing time thing, you mentioned, hey, now this might have some like sex or surprise or nakedness things in it, that's kind of sad and weird. And it doesn't have to be like the worst thing that happened to you, but be courageous so that people understand what one another have been through. Don't be afraid of just saying like, this thing was embarrassing and it was hard for me to handle emotionally. So we've got favorite place, scary time, favorite person or special person, embarrassing time, and a supernatural time, like some kind of supernatural thing that happened, a supernatural thing, and also a happiest time. And so that's the Family Honesty Workshop. And as you go through that, you realize, wow, everybody that I'm sitting here with has had some really interesting things. And I learned about interesting places, and I learned about interesting people, and oh my gosh, that was so sad and embarrassing what they went through, and da-da-da-da-da. And the sozo list is just 5 things. There are 5 certain places where unclean spirits and bad repetitive behavior tends to sit and connect up with a person. Number 1 is anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, and revenge. If you're bitter towards another person, sometimes like real ugly repetitive stuff gets on you. Unclean spirit. Life trauma, any kind of life trauma. Your best friend moved away and they never came back again, and you never felt like you now got another best friend, so your whole life has been hunting for another best friend. Angerness, bitterness, unforgiveness. Life trauma. Sex events, obviously. Things, sex events that are like hard to deal with and stuff like that. Occult. The using of the powers of the dark side to operate and do things. That's where unclean spirits can actually stay attached to you unless you say bye-bye to them. And then the last thing is your strengths. And this is something that you need to focus on and write down. The things that I tend to be good at. If you are kind of an excellent person or a special person who's very successful, you are almost in the most danger, because your strengths are areas that can actually be pushed overboard into negativity. And unclean spirits will attach to you and make you assume that, well, I need to take care of this situation because I'm the best person for this job, and et cetera, et cetera. And so those 5 areas are areas that you personally meditate on and think about. As far as in the group, you don't have to do that out loud, but as you talk about these things, you can handle it any way that you want to. But making that list and making it apparent and having people write that list down and make notes for themselves about where they've had repetitive problems because they had a trauma or they had a sex event or they're really strong in this certain area, and sometimes they end up being prideful, or careless or not caring about other people that aren't strong the way they're strong. And then finally, the Sermon on the Mount in one-liners will be in the description. So that's enough for now. That's how to do the Family Honesty Workshop, the 3 parts. And it takes a while, and it's fun, and you really start feeling close and powerful to the people that you're with. And one of the things that you can begin to do is to do little 20-minute long, quick double sessions in the morning and in the evening with your family or with your people, so that people are getting used to just sharing the things by saying, I disappointed myself when I didn't do this thing or that thing, or I disappointed myself when I know I should have called that person, or I called them and I was afraid to talk about the thing that I really called them for. And so that way, if we do double sessions for the first segment, after we've done the icebreaker workshop, we get together and learn how to just learn how to be honest with each other. Okay, what's going on? All right, you caught me red-handed. Or it's like, whatever, you need to pray for me. Man, it's one more time, the same thing. What's wrong with me? Da-da-da-da-da. And the kids and the parents can all have that same tone of we're all little people before God, and we all make mistakes. And this is just an awesome thing. And this is what has been missing from my Christian life since I was an illegitimately conceived child, and my parents were afraid of just being honest with me, that they got a marriage around me and they loved me. And it was really sad because nobody in the church helped them be honest and tell me. So that's why, this is my job, is working on not just the opening the doors to God and goodness, but actually to maintaining the family and staying open so that people don't die of drug overdoses, so that people aren't living in quiet desperation because they have weird things going on in the relationships. That's what this is for. Yippee, go forward, send me a note, ask me questions, subscribe and comment and and all that kind of stuff.